This version of sleep sessions is designed to be 45 minutes long, which is ideal for a lunchtime slot to refresh and reset the students who are coming. I won't teach it in real time, but I will let you know how long the hold should be and the information we should ideally give the students, plus when to leave silence. This is a stripped back version as we don't have much time, with a 15-minute nidra at the end. I'm going to teach this class as if it's the middle of the day or in the early afternoon, assuming that the students have things to do after class. This is the flowing movement that will begin from child's pose. So we'll start knees a bit wider than the hips, big toes touch, arms forwards, forehead to the mat. However, if it's more comfortable, the legs can be together and the arms can be at the sides of the body. Forehead to the floor, shoulder heads draping down. We're just settling them here for maybe maximum 10 breaths, and then we're going to get going. So forehead down, forehead, forearms, palms to floor, and just letting them settle for a few moments here. Inviting them to notice the movement of the breath into the back body, the sides of the body on the inhale. And the exhale, noticing how the space returns to how it was before. The space softens. Inhale, there's an expansion. And exhale, there's a softening. So they're just getting used to that awareness of the breath, that awareness of sensation. After that, we'll come up to all fours. So roughly shoulders above the creases of the wrists, hips above the knees. As this is in the other classes, we'll probably take about 5 rounds of this, but you could take it a bit slower perhaps, so the sit bones back, the chest forwards on a smooth breath in, and the exhale, tipping the hips the other way, rounding the back. So that may be 4 or 5 times. Moving into thread the needle, so leaning into the left arm, reaching the right arm up, taking a breath in and threading it underneath on the breath out until the head is on the floor. Watch out for this one, that they don't collapse sort of back into a hybrid of child's pose meets thread the needle, but keeping the hips above the knees. And for the left arm here, they can lay it on the side of the head as a restorative version. It still does the twist, it still works. Noticing the feeling in the upper left shoulder area, the upper back on the left side, drawing that left outer hip slightly back, or the right if it feels a bit imbalanced. This hand will come back to where it was before, and pressing down to lift up, inhale, and then exhale back. And then we'll do the other side. So we'll lift the left arm up, threading it underneath, making sure the hips are above the knees roughly, laying the arm into the more restorative position. They might be used to doing more of an active press to rotate, but we can keep it really relaxed. A few breaths here, 3 to 5 breaths. Using that arm to press the ground away. Inhaling, exhaling. Anything they want to do here, a little wriggle. And that is the end of the flowing movement from child's pose. So to begin with, the class is seated, placing the hands on the thighs, rolling the shoulders back, sitting tall. You might need to remind them to sit tall as they move through the practice. And when you're ready, closing the eyes if you're happy to. If not, you can down focus the eye line slightly forwards and downwards instead. Place the first 2 fingers of the right hand at the eyebrow center. You might even spend a few moments there, just giving yourself a little massage at the crease of the forehead here. And then pause with that movement. Now the right ring finger will hover next to the right nostril, and the right ring finger will hover next to the left nostril. Take a few breaths natural breaths through both the nostrils. And just notice here if one side is more congested than the other. Sitting tall, spine is long. Feel the hips and the legs supported by the surface beneath. Lightly press the right nostril with the right thumb. Inhaling through the left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4. Close the left, exhale through right. 2, 3, 4. Breathing in through the right. 3 and 4. Close, exhale through the left. 3 and 4. That's one round. Breathing in through the left. 3 and 4. Close, exhale through the right. 3, 4. Breathing in through the right. 3, 4. Close, exhale through the left. 3, 4. That's 2 rounds. Inhale through the left. 3, 4. Close, exhale through the right. 3 and 4. Breathing in through the right. 3, 4. Close, exhale through the left. 3, 4. That's 3 rounds. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Sitting tall. Breathing in through the right. Close, exhale through the left. That's 4 rounds. Inhale through the left. Close the left, exhale through right. Breathing in through the right. Close, exhale through the left. That's 5 rounds. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Breathing in through the right. Close, exhale through the left. That's 6. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. And breathing out. That's 7. Do 3 rounds in your own time. And no rush to finish, but when you have finished, you can take the hand down, breathe through both nostrils for a few rounds of breath. And just notice here if the nostril that felt a bit more congested than the other, does it feel a little clearer? Are there any other effects from this breathwork practice that you notice? And after that, you can guide the class to softly blink the eyes open if they're closed. Remind them of where they are You might guide them to notice the atmosphere of the pod, low lights, the sounds. They could have a little roll of the shoulders, maybe a little wriggle. And that is the end of the pranayama section. This pose is a folded forwards pose on a bolster with a twist. It is a version of Ardha, Mukha, Jathara, Parivartanasana. It complements a back bend really well, and it also works as a standalone restorative moment, say if you started the class lying down. So for this restorative twist, we'll get the students to place the bolster in front of them on the mat, and we'll do the right side first. Have a rolled towel ready for the students to put in between the thighs, and this helps to take the pressure off the nearby joints. So I'll now ask Catherine to come up against the bolster facing the entrance of the pod and slide your right hip so it's touching the bolster. That's it. And the knees can point towards the entrance of the pod, slightly separated. And when you're ready, laying down the torso on the bolster. It makes sense here to turn the head the same direction as the knees for more comfort. Once the class is settled, you can invite them to take the rolled blanket or towel and put it in between the thighs. So Catherine, if you'd like to, that's it, separate the knees, pop it in between so that it's comfortable. Great. And any adjustments you want to make to get even more comfy, go for it. We'll hold the class, ideally, in this pose for 5 minutes on each side. On the first side, you might introduce the concept of folding forwards and asking the class to notice the difference in sensations between folding forwards and where they might have been before lying back, so that we're continuing to encourage that awareness of their inner experience. Now, if this pose doesn't suit some people, if they experience knee, lower back, hip or shoulder pain here, you could offer them the Pavanmuktasana and the reclined twist on a bolster version instead. So once the time is up, you can encourage the students to move slowly, and they can push down with their arm strength to slowly come out of the pose. And they're walking the hands back to support, and they're coming up. They can remove the towel. And then take a moment, Catherine, here to turn towards the bolster, but in child's pose. So you can come into all fours for a sec, and come into child's pose with the knees wider than the hips, that's it, and coming down onto the bolster. And the students can either rest their head on the bolster like so, or if they wanted to draw the bolster a bit closer in and rest the head and the chest and a part of the belly on the bolster, they can. So it's completely up to them, and leave them here for about a minute as the space in between the two sides. On the second side, you can tell the class about the anatomy of the pose. So we can tell them that it's a gentle rotation of the spine. It's a mix of effort and release of the obliques and the transversus abdominis muscles, and also other muscles in the back and sides that are supporting breathing. This pose will promote easeful breathing. And it also supports digestion and encourages a sense of protectedness as the front of the body is downwards facing. After the second side, the students can slowly come out from this pose, same as from the first side, using the arm strength to push the ground away, patting the hands back, moving slow. So Catherine has just completed her second side of folded twist on a bolster, and she's come back to the middle to be in child's pose with the bolster. And just make sure that the student has turned their head in one direction for the first time they do this child's pose, and then in the other direction. So we'll hold them here for about a minute after the second side, and then after that minute is up, Catherine can start to slowly push her hands against the floor to get herself up to a seat. Starting to come away from the bolster, walking the hands towards the legs. No rush to come up for a moment. And Catherine can move the bolster out the way, pop it to the side. And as a counter pose, I'll ask Catherine to come onto her belly, lying on her front. The feet can be a bit wider than the hips. The hands can layer one on top of the other. She can rest the forehead on the back of the hand. And you can keep the students here for maybe a minute or so, just as a really nice neutralizer for the spine, a counter pose after the twist on the bolster. Encourage a sense of breath through the back of the body, an easeful breath. And if the students prefer, they can take the head one side or to the other side, or they can keep the head in the middle. Yeah, there can even be a massage of a side to side. And after that minute is up, Catherine can slowly start to place the hands more so underneath the shoulders with the elbows bent, and press slowly back into child's pose from here. Adjusting with knees wide and arms forwards exactly. And just having maybe 30 seconds or so here in regular child's pose without any props. And then you can invite the class to walk the hands back towards the thighs, unfurling the spine slowly. And eventually they'll be sat upright, no rush to get there, ready for the next part of class. I will teach this next section as though those of you watching at home are also students practicing the Yoga Nidra, and if you like, you can lie down, you can get warm and comfortable and relax into it and feel how it feels to be the student. So Catherine's got a layer on here. We would encourage the students to wear an extra layer. Even though the pod is gently heated, it still might feel a little bit colder if they're lying still for a significant amount of time. And they can also put socks on as well. There could be a blanket on top of the body, whatever the student would like. So this is the 15-minute Nidra inspired by the Himalayan rotation. And we'll now move into the practice of Yoga Nidra, which is a form of rest, also known as yoga sleep. Settle yourself into your chosen position when you are ready. Yoga Nidra helps to reduce mental and physical tension that can build up naturally as we navigate the stresses of modern day life. The effects that can occur from practicing this type of deep relaxation are having a clearer mind, enhanced memory recall, more effective digestion, enhanced concentration, and elevated mood. Hopefully, as you move through the rest of your day after this practice of Yoga Nidra, you'll feel refreshed and reset mentally and physically. I will guide you through a relaxation, and think of this as a practice of gentle awareness, a practice of doing less and listening to the sound of my voice, if you wish, as you rest. Please make sure that the body is as comfortable as possible. Adjust props so that you feel very supported. Change position if you like at any point. And feel free to make any movements that you like during the practice of Yoga Nidra. You could yawn, sigh, flutter the lips. All noises are welcome. All of you is welcome, exactly as you are in this moment. This practice is intended to be effortless. You might find yourself drifting in and out of wakefulness, and that is okay. You might find yourself asleep, or the person next to you might be asleep, and that is okay. Think of it as an effortless practice of being, and let my voice be your guide. Settle the body into its most comfortable place and notice the floor of the pod, the mat holding the body, the ground beneath. Perhaps take another yawn, sigh, or flutter of the lips. Noticing the taste of the saliva inside the mouth. And relax the root of the tongue as best as you can. Become aware of the props and how they're placed against the body, and how they are supporting the position of the body. Take a moment to remember where you are and to observe the warmth that surrounds the body. Perhaps noticing, even with the eyes closed, the low lighting of the pod. Noticing the air around the face, if it has a temperature. And notice if the breath coming in and out of the nose has a texture, a quality. Notice how it feels as it moves in and as it moves out. Take a few more moments here to notice the sensations of the breath as it comes in and as it goes out. I will now guide you through a rotation of consciousness. Think of this as following a light around the body. This golden light can start at the eyebrow center. This golden light moves from the eyebrow center to the throat, the right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. That light moving to the right wrist once more, the right elbow, the right shoulder, and back to the throat. This golden light moves to the left shoulder, inside left elbow, left wrist, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger on the left hand. The light moving back to the left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder, and the throat. This light moves down to the center of the chest, on the left side of the chest, back to the center of the chest, and the right side of the chest, back to the center of the chest, and this light moving down to the navel and the pubic bone, across to the right hip, the right knee, the right ankle, the big toe on the right foot, second toe, third toe, fourth, and fifth. This light of attention moving back to the right ankle, the right knee, the right hip, and the pubic bone. Over to the left hip, down to the left knee, the left ankle, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. The slight moving back to the left ankle, left knee, left hip, and pubic bone. To the navel, to the chest, the throat, and the eyebrow center. This golden light of awareness, like little lights glistening at the different points of the body. Taking a few moments here to notice the rise and fall of the breath. The inhale, there might be a lift of the belly, and the exhale, the space falls and there's a softening. Inhale, expansion, and exhale, softening. And starting to notice here the sensation of the floor beneath, the support of the floor, and the feeling of the ground beneath. And noticing the atmosphere above the body, the air above the body, the atmosphere of the pod above the body. Imagining here in your mind, if you like, seeing the body resting, imagining that you're looking at yourself from above, like a bird's eye view, looking at the body and seeing the shape of the rested body from above. And what would it look like if you were looking at the body from underneath? So imagining that you were roots of the tree and you were underneath in the earth, looking up to see the body resting. What would the back of the body look like here, as though you're looking from beneath? And also imagining from the sides, seeing the body from the right side, and the left side. Then taking a moment to reflect, remembering what you might have been doing before class, where there was more activity, and notice the difference, how it feels to do much less, how the stillness feels compared to that activity. Taking a little bit more time here to rest in that stillness. Taking some time now to slowly draw the awareness back to the present moment. Notice the sensations of the resting body here in the pod. Notice the texture of the mat beneath and the props that are supporting the body. Notice the sensations of the clothes against the skin. And becoming more attuned to the air around the skin of the face, and the hands and the feet, any part of the body that is exposed. And you might once again become aware of the dimly lit hues of pink and purple without even opening the eyes. There might be an awareness of those lights, the soft lighting. Noticing the breath, bringing the awareness to the breath, moving steadily in and out of the nose, becoming more aware of the body and where you are over the next couple of minutes as the practice of Yoga Nidra slowly comes to a close. And breathing now with an invitation to lengthen the breath. And as you inhale, imagine the breath traveling all the way to the edges of the body. And on the exhale, the breath returns to center. It's almost like the inhale is traveling all the way to the extremities of the body, the tips of the fingers, the toes, and the top of the head. And the exhale, the breath patiently moves back to center. And take that a few more times, that notion of edges to center in your own time. As though you're breathing into the whole of the body, becoming aware of the whole of the body, and bringing a few little subtle movements now into fingers and toes. A few subtle movements into fingers and toes. And you might like to roll the head slowly side to side. You could yawn or stretch the arms over the head. No rush. Keep it really slow and steady. That's it. And if the students, most of them might be lying like this, I would ask Catherine to bring the feet slowly to the bolster and roll it down to the bottom of the mat. And then Catherine, you can roll towards the entrance of the pod into a side-lying position when you're ready. And just lay there on your side, no rush. Lay there on your side, breathing into the side, the back of the body. Before coming up to seats, to a seated pose, cross legs or kneeling, and keep the eyes closed if that feels good. Just to take a few more moments, keeping the awareness inwards, and asking the class to take a few moments here at the end of the Yoga Nidra practice, comfortably sitting, cross legs or kneeling, and to notice the surface beneath, the floor of the pod, the mat holding the body. Noticing what the pod sounds like. Noticing what the body feels like as it's sat upright after the practice. Maybe tuning back in with the senses. Perhaps there's an awareness of the saliva in the mouth once more. An awareness of how the muscles are feeling holding up the body. The movement of the breath through the nose. And as you sit here for a few moments, come back to the question of how does it feel to do less? What happened to the body and mind as they moved into the different stages of relaxation? Noticing the effects of this slower practice. Noticing what arose in those different moments. Could this practice of awareness be something that you can take off the mat with you? Empowering certain decisions that you might make today, tomorrow, or at some point. Could being slower help to not only regulate our systems and help us sleep, but also allow space in our minds for balance and ease, helping us to feel more connected to ourselves and our purpose? Or perhaps you leave the mat today knowing that you had an hour where you didn't have to do or think about the other stuff, but that you could relax and simply be, that you could look after yourself. It might be as simple as that. So as the students are coming back into the space, they've blinked the eyes open, suggest to them that they might like to eat or drink a little something, because it just helps to bring the senses back in to the body after resting for so long. A piece of chocolate is really helpful. A piece of dark chocolate really works a treat. The stimulation of the senses will help to bring the body and the mind back into that wakeful feeling, especially if the students have a journey home that they need to make, or they need to go back into their everyday activities. And say to them something along the lines of, don't be surprised if in this moment you feel a bit sleepy. During the afternoon, it should feel like you return to your tasks feeling fresh, rested, and clear-headed. You'll notice that I inform the class of the benefits of Yoga Nidra and how they might feel afterwards. This might be a really unfamiliar style of practice for a lot of people. And at the beginning and the end of the Yoga Nidra, you can manage their expectations by letting them know the benefits of the practice and that the purpose is not to render them useless and groggy for the rest of the afternoon, but in fact to refresh them and help them to be more productive and clear-headed in the activities that follow the class.